Musical instruments.
Hi, my name's Amanda. Welcome to Science Time Experimenting at Home. Today, we're going to be experimenting with sounds and making music. Do you like to make music? It's lots of fun, isn't it? We can make music with our bodies. Could you try clapping? Or maybe putting your hands like this. That makes a different sound. What about clicking? You could stomp your feet as well. There are so many ways to make sounds with our body. We can use our voice and our mouth as well. Can you try humming? Hum, hum. Maybe you can whistle or blow raspberries. That makes a funny sound. This time, can you try humming but put your hand on your throat and feel and see if you can feel anything. Hum, hum. Can you feel anything? I can feel something moving inside my throat. That's my vocal cords. They're moving back and forth really fast. That's called vibrating. And those vibrations make the air vibrate around it. And that vibrates all the way to, what do we listen with? That's right, our ears. We listen with our ears. It's a bit hard to imagine because we can't see the sound moving. But if you have a look at my slinky here, it's a bit similar. So at one end of the slinky, if I make a movement or a sound, watch what happens to the rest of the slinky. Can you see that all the bits move until we get to the other end? Whoa. It's a bit like a wave. That's how sound moves through the air. And we can't see that. But sometimes we can see the effect that it has. Here I've got a bowl with some rice on top. And we're going to have a look and see what happens when we make some noise right next to the rice. Can you have a think? What do you think will happen to this rice when I make a loud noise with my drum? Let's experiment and find out. Use your eyes and watch really closely. The rice is moving. So the vibrations from the drum are making the air vibrate all the way to the rice. And when it reaches the rice starts to move. Let's try a quiet sound and see how much the rice moves. Just a little bit. But if we do a loud sound, the rice moves a lot. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? You might be able to try that at home. You don't necessarily need a drum like this though. We can make drums at home too. Have you ever made drums with things in your kitchen? I've got some drums from my kitchen here. I've got a saucepan and a bowl. And I thought we'd see how they sound. This one, if we have a look and a feel, is shiny and it's very smooth. This one isn't shiny and it's a bit rough. And I found some things to play with. I've got a wooden spoon and I've also got a whisk. Let's have a listen. Do you think the two drums will sound the same? Let's test. They sound very different, don't they? This one is a really tinny sound and this one is a lot softer. You could try using different utensils and see if the sounds are different and test out lots of different instruments in your kitchen. There are other drums that you can make at home as well. You could try making drums with cardboard tubes like these. I've got one here that I've already made. It's got some alfoil over the top and an elastic band around the outside. You might also want to try some paper or some fabric or maybe some cling wrap. You could try different things. Have a feel, have a look, have a think about how they'd sound and then test it out. So you can get your grown-up to help you to wrap your elastic band around the top so that you've got different surfaces on your drums. And then you can test. Let's see what these ones sound like. They make different sounds. Very interesting drums. You could try making some bigger drums or some longer drums if you find different types of cardboard rolls as well. So there's heaps of things you can make at home. Have you ever made shakers at home? They're great for instruments. Here I've got two shakers that are the same size, same bottles, but they have different things inside. This one has popping corn, which is quite big. And this one has rice, which is small granules. Do you think they'll sound the same? Let's do an experiment and see. They sound very different, don't they? The popping corn, which is bigger, makes a louder sound, and the rice, which is smaller, makes a quieter sound. So you could find some containers at home and put different things inside. Make sure you check with your grown-ups first though. And instead of changing what's inside your shakers, you could experiment with the size of your shakers. Whoa, here I've got 2 shakers. One is very small and one is very big. And inside both of them, there are 4 pieces of pasta. Can you help me count them? 1, 2, 3, 4. So both containers have got the same thing inside. Do you think they'll sound the same? Let's experiment and find out. Oh, hey, they sound quite different. This one is a much lower sound, and this one is a higher sound. So different shapes and sizes can affect the sound that you make. An instrument that has different shapes and sizes is this one here. Have you seen one of these before? It's called a xylophone. You might have played one before. Let's have a listen. It makes a lovely sound. Can you see there are different sized shapes? Down this end we've got a very long piece, and down this end there's a short piece. Let's have a listen and see what they sound like. They sound quite different, don't they? This long piece has quite a low sound, and this short piece has a much higher sound. So the shape can change what it sounds like. You don't have to have one of these at home though. If you do have one, you can play with it and experiment. But if you don't, you might want to try making a xylophone with water. I've got 2 jars here with water in them. Let's have a listen and see what they sound like. That's a pretty cool sound. Now, let's do some experimenting. What do you think would happen to the sound if I change how much water is in the glasses? Now I've got a lot of water in this glass and just a small amount in this glass. Do you think they'll sound the same? Let's try. They sound different. So now the glass with a small amount of water has a high sound, and the glass with a lot of water has a lower sound. So if you've got some jars left over at home, maybe in your recycling, talk to your grown-ups and maybe you can try and make a water xylophone. You could maybe have 3 or 4 different jars and try different amounts of water. You might even be able to play a song. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Now, all the instruments that we've looked at so far, we've had to hit with something. They're called percussion instruments, but there are also instruments that have strings, like this ukulele. Have you ever played a ukulele before? They've got strings that you can strum, or you can pluck. Now, the string at the bottom here goes all the way from this point here, right down to here, and makes this sound. You might have seen when people are playing a ukulele that they put their fingers on the strings. What that does is change the length of the string. So if I put my finger here, now the string is just going from here to my finger. It's much shorter. Let's see if it sounds the same. So when my finger's not on there, it sounds like this. When my finger is on, oh, it's a much higher sound. That's interesting, isn't it? So if you have a ukulele or a guitar at home, and it's okay with your grown-ups, you could do some experimenting. Try putting your finger on to change the length of the string and see how that changes the sound. And if you don't have one of these at home, that's okay. You you could try making your own version with a container and some elastic bands. Here we've got a thin elastic band and then 2 thick elastic bands. Let's have a listen. They make different sounds, don't they? And then I've put a block under this elastic band to make it even tighter. And that makes a different sound again. So you could experiment with all of these different types of instruments. You might even be able to make a band. So, what I'd love you to do is go and do some experimenting. Try out making different instruments. And if you'd like to tell us about what you've been doing, you can send us an email at sciencetime@Questacon. Thanks for coming to Science Time Experimenting at Home today. We'd love to see you next episode. Bye!